Well, hello everybody. My name is Tarris Horton, and I am here with Ron Washington, the undefeated, undisputed next mayor of Covington, Kentucky. Great to have you here again, Ron.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
This is awesome.
Good seeing you. Good seeing you.
Well, we're just going to get right into it. There is a new initiative that Covington is going to have on the ballot. I want to give you an opportunity. It's a mayor council forum, and I want to give you an opportunity to explain a little bit from your perspective what's going on. I have an opinion article from former Mayor Sherry Karen, and I also have an article from the current mayor, Joe Myers, and you can look these up. Both of them are available online. Joe Myers is available on the Northern Kentucky Tribune, and Sherry Cairns is on Link NKY. So I'll just ask Ron from his perspective, considering the mayor council forum that's on the ballot in Covington, Kentucky, what are your insights?
Thanks for the question, and thanks for having me. Like I said before I got elected, long before I got elected, I would assume that we are already in a strong mayor's form of government. Everybody assumes that the mayor runs the town. As I, was running for election, and just because of my experience in government and business, I knew that wasn't the case, that we had a what's called city manager form of government. So before I was elected, I was totally for the city manager form of government. It made sense to me. You get a professional manager to run the day-to-day operations. Everything should run smooth. But then I got elected. So then when I got elected, I learned very quickly that the people's wills, the voters' wills, the city of Covington, the Covingtonians' will, may not be carried out. And this is what I mean by that. Let me give you an example. If a constituent comes to me with an issue, what I have to do to get a simple issue passed is I may have to round up 2 other votes on the commission, and then we have to tell the city manager to do it. Now, the city manager should do it because we have now ordered him to do it. To do that, we have to be in session. We have to have a meeting. So whatever the issue is, we have to instruct the city manager to do that. Let me give you just a really recent example. Blank. So Blank, which brought literally 200,000 people to our city. 200,000 people to see this beautiful show. In the past, it's increased our culinary places, their income by 54%. We had over 200 people go to DeVue Park to watch the drone show. They wanted to go there. They did not want to wade into the large crowds. Well, what happened was the park rangers, because they're under direction to, asked these people to leave. So they missed the show. Once again, a disconnect. Not the rangers' fault, but that's the bureaucracy running things. Where you have an elected official doing things, the citizens can pick up the phone and call and say, hey, let's do something about this. I'm here with my wife and I want to watch the show. And I'm an elderly person. My wife's an elderly person. That happened. They contacted us. There's nothing we can do. We have to wait until we're in session to bring it up to the city manager. And that's what I did. Brought it up to the city manager. Why are we doing this? Well, there was good reasons to do that. Back in the day, the park was not what it is today. So we didn't want people out there in the night. Now we've put millions of dollars of donations into the Overlook. Everyone knows that the Overlook is the place to be to see Cincinnati, the beautiful lights. It's changed. The atmosphere of the park has changed. But still, 200 of our constituents lost out on the view because the mayor could not say, hold up, no, let's adjust. This should have been covered in pre-planning. It's not. But we realize what needs to happen, and those people can stay. The city manager doesn't have that power because he's got to go back to the original order. There's no flexibility. So the constituents, that's one small part. The constituents aren't being served by their elected official. The bigger thing is it's a good position for a politician to be in, because if you come to me and I'm a dishonest broker and I don't want to do something, or I'm lazy, I can
pass the buck.
I can pass the buck. With a mayor council form, the mayor can't pass the buck.
Yeah, how would the proposed structure of the mayor council form different from the current government now? So Sherry Cairns, she says vote no for change of government in Covington because from reading this, it says she was mayor from 2012 to 2016. The current mayor, Joe Myers, defeated her. And she says if it's not broke, don't fix it. Her vote is no because things were working fine. And then you can quote her. It says, if it's working fine, why try to change? Vote no. That's from Sherry Karen. So I'll give you an opportunity to address that one and explain how would the structure of this mayor council form different from the current government now?
Okay, well, I think one of the things you can do is you could compare the last 8 years compared to her 4 years. I think without a doubt, I think without a doubt, you see the movement of Covington under Joe Meyer. Like him or not, Joe's a very persuasive guy. He's been doing his best to try to run it as a strong mayor, so to say, mayor council. And we've got a lot of things done. No disrespect to Miss Karen.
Right, yeah,
but
none.
I mean, if you compare the two terms, there was a reason that Joe Meyer did not have competition last time. There's a reason.
That's fair.
What Mayor Meyer is saying now is that the new form of government, the mayor council form, really needs to have the law behind it, because we can see the last 8 years what's progressed under his leadership, and the commission,
right,
pretty much, letting him do a lot of things.
So how would that change now?
Sure.
What's the power structure the mayor has now? What power will the mayor have under this new system that would affect the council's authority?
Let's talk about it. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Okay, so basically right now, under city manager form of government, you have 4 commissioners and you have a mayor. Every one of us have a vote. By law, the mayor runs the meeting and he signs documents that the Board of Commission gives him the okay. It's a ceremonial position.
Right.
It's a ceremonial position. That's what it is. Okay. So he or she may be the face of our city. All right. Now, under the mayor council form of government, the mayor actually is the executive that runs the city day to day. Under the mayor city manager, the executive power is not the city manager. People are like, well, it's the city manager's the executive power. Actually, it's the Board of Commissioners. And the Board of Commissioners' executive power is only when we're on the dais and we're voting. So we are the executive and the legislative power. So we have dual duties as Board of Commissioners. Under the mayor council form, not to get too confusing, the mayor does not have a vote. Under the mayor city manager form, he does have a vote. He has a right to veto under the mayor council.
So an accountability piece of this, what measures will be put in place to make sure that accountability is for both on the mayor and the council? With the city manager, it seems like there's checks and balances in case there's the mayor and the city councilmen are not willy-nilly just going crazy.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. It's the power of the purse, okay? So what city council does, they control the budget, okay? So they control policy with the budget. What's that mean? That means the mayor, they'll tell him, you got this amount of money to spend. These are the positions we expect. Let's say the mayor would do something crazy. He'd hire a person that's not qualified for the position. He'd hire his great uncle for a position he's trying to take care of him. Okay, so the council could do a couple of things. One of the things they could do that you don't see currently is they could raise holy heck with the mayor. That's one thing. That's accountability.
Yes.
That's accountability to you.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2, what they can do is they can defund the position. They control the budget. They can control the money. They defund the position.
If the mayor does something out of control, the city council would have the authority to put the mayor in check and defund the position that he funded.
That's right. And if it got really egregious, what the city council can do is they could impeach the mayor. When I hear that argument that they're going to have this mayor that's totally out of control is going to do all these things, the only thing you got to do is look around our community. What else places have the mayor council form of government?
I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that.
Sorry, Tarris.
That's okay. Financial implications. What are the expected costs associated with transitioning from the government model to how it's affecting the city budget now? So what's the cost? Say we get rid of the city manager. You vote yes. What are going to be the costs of the city?
Okay. Let's look at this. For instance, the law says that what takes place is the city commission that's coming in January will set the parameters for the city council and how many members. So as you previously said, there will be at least 6 members. There could be as many as 12. I personally don't think that's a workable number, but there could be as many as 12. So what's the impact on that? Well, if this thing is passed, one of the first things that I will suggest to the new Board of Commission is we will set a group of professionals and citizens, and they will get together and they will review all city ordinances and city orders to prepare us for that next journey of being council. We have 2 years. So we have 2 years to put things together in place for the city council to do things. Now, I will say this, people don't realize this, but currently the mayor's position is funded at, I don't know, I think it's $28,000 to $30,000 a year. Anyone that knows...
That's part-time, correct? That's part-time.
Well, they say it's part-time, but in actuality, it is a full-time plus job. I can tell you as the vice mayor of the city, and anybody that follows me on social media, they will say, you're everywhere, Ron, and that is, it's 40 hours plus a week.
Right.
And you're only seeing a quarter of it on social media. You know, today I've already covered three things in parts of my duty. So what happens is, when we transition if the voters choose to, when we transition to mayor, council, form of government, what takes place is that mayor that is now considered the CEO, he will not get a raise. He will not get a raise for 2 years. So he will make the same amount of money as he did in the mayor commission form. So it's not like anybody's lying in their pockets on this. There's no great raise. And I can tell you this, our city staff, our current city staff is doing a very, very good job.
Yes.
Will there be adjustments? There will be adjustments. But there will still be professionals. But there'll be professionals led by one instead of five. Whatever you do, could you imagine having 5 bosses?
Yeah,
I was talking to one city manager about this, and this is what he says. He says, I pick the mayor council form any day over the city manager, and I say that as city manager because at any time, one of those 5 bosses, as I'm driving down the street, can pull the steering wheel away from me. Imagine that.
Yeah.
That's no way to run a business.
Joe Myers has been the mayor for the past 8 years, and like you said, like him or not, Joe Myers is an effective leader, and he gets the job done. Results with this, what he did at the Prince Bridge, and him and Steve Franks to keep tolls off the bridge. Joe Myers, he's quoted to say, over 26 cities in northern Kentucky with populations over 1,000. There's 26 cities in northern Kentucky with populations over 1,000, and 23 of those cities use the mayor council form. Independence, Florence, Erlanger, Fort Thomas, Fort Mitchell, Fort Wright, Villa Hills, Park Hills, all use the mayor council form. The largest cities in Kentucky, Lexington and Louisville, they use the mayor council form. The city manager form of government is an outlier used by only a handful of cities. That's coming from Joe Myers. I'm going to go over some key points of Joe Myers, and I'm going to shoot fire on them, and then you can give me your thing. More clear chain of command. You know who's actually in charge. Could you speak on that a little bit?
Absolutely. Right now, in the current city manager form of government, me holding executive powers as a commissioner, I can talk to any department head I want to. The department head can fill me in on issues of the city, but that can easily be abused, and that also splits alliances. So the department head then can, if they stray from the reservation and they have their own points of view or their own political agenda, they can try to sway a commissioner to their side.
Right.
Okay. So no clear line of command. Basically, the staff that's trying to answer to 5 people and not getting their job done, where if there was just one leader, like most organizations, and then a lot more work can be done, and everybody's on the same page, and everybody moves in the same direction.
Okay, more representation. The city commission will grow from 4 seats to at least 6, which would give more residents of Covington representation, because 4 is just not enough.
It's not enough.
It's
We're a city of 40,000 people. We're a city of 40,000 people with a lot of diverse views. I mean, we were just named one of the top 50 cities in the United States, and it's because of the way we treat businesses, the way we treat residents, our historic structures. But at the same time, I think we're lacking in that area. We can pull in more expertise if we expand the council.
That's a great point. Outside organizations that have looked into the change of this endorsement, this is from Joe Myers, and you can all look this up on the Northern Kentucky Tribune. Organizations that have supported this, yes, on this mayor council form. Latonia Business Association, I gotta get all these right. The Covington Business Council, both of those 2 organizations do so much for Covington. The Northern Kentucky Labor Council, the NAACP, Jerome does such a great job in Northern Kentucky for the NAACP. The chairs of both the Democratic and the Republican Party's executive committees, they all approve this. And a range of other competing interests are on the same page for this mayor council form of government. And it will benefit all the city of Covington residents. Joe Myers said he is for this, and Sherry Karen says no. Sherry Karen says no. You can read hers on link. And Joe Myers on the Kentucky Tribune did a great job of laying this out on why he says yes. Okay, we're gonna get down to how this affects you, the viewer, citizen of Covington. I'm gonna ask, and me and Ron, we've been around each other, so I'm gonna ask some tough questions here. I'm gonna ask him a couple tough questions.
Sure.
What efforts are being made to educate the voters about the implications of this change on their ballots? Because it's about Covington Forward. Who is the Covington Forward is the name of the group that is initiating this change? Tell me about that. I mean, is this a special interest group, or is this something that is going to benefit? And how is this going to benefit every single resident of our county?
First of all, the way this was put together and brought to the voters was done by the law. So our people in the city of Covington, in the state of Kentucky, if they want to change their city government, the Kentucky Revised Statute, in other words, the Kentucky law, lays it out. And what it says is that you can do it 2 ways. Okay, one way you can do it is the city commission can vote to put it on the ballot, or citizens can gather petitions. And you need a certain percentage based off the last presidential election. It was 3,000 some odd signatures. Now, this group is led by a business person, Richard Dickman, and I can tell you
Let's go.
that if you look at the people on this group, you have whites, you have blacks, you have Republicans, you have independents, and you have Democrats. That's what you have from all parts of the city, from the east side of Covington to the south, to South Covington, to Licking Riverside. So it's a mixed group of people. So this group got together. They received donations. They followed the law, and they were able to put it on the ballot.
So just to recap, Covington Forward is spearheaded by Richard Dickman. We all know Richard from Dickman's. Last time I seen Richard was at the Bob Marley concert. He ran up to me, gave me a big old hug, man. Richard, top-notch guy. Just in something very, very specific. 2012, Smoke Justice was just getting to Covington. So he's had a run. And so he's got to experience the last 8 years of Joe Myers. Smoke Justice started off in the front and just had the basement. Now they've expanded to take over the whole old Fold company, and we're the catalyst of, across the street of the Kent County Jail getting turned into an apartment complex. Richard Dickman being the forefront of this should be, if that's not enough to get you to vote yes for it, I don't know what to tell you. Ron, I think you've done a great job of explaining it in your position. In closing, you got the floor to tell the Covington citizens what you want to tell them.
It's our time. The city of Covington, I grew up here, I was raised here, I went to public school here. Every elected member currently on the city commission supports this. So they're willing to go from commissioners to council people because they love our city. We have former mayors like Denny Bowman, former city commissioners, Vice Mayor Rob Sanders, Sean Masters, former city commissioner, that support this. Because once you're inside government, you know that we can be much better. This is our time. You see how the growth's going. You see how everything is going. So you say, why change? Because we can do better. We can do better. We need to put a team together around the mayor to advocate for the city's needs. We need to be able to go down to Frankfort and speak one voice. Currently, the mayor technically does not speak with one voice. So we will be able to go down there, advocate for our city, bring back our tax money for our city, fight for our city, and show why this is the gem of Northern Kentucky. That's why I'm 100% for it. It's the next step.
This is a special report from Horton Hears You 2024. My name is Tarris Horton. I've been sitting down with the next mayor, undefeated mayor of Covington, Kentucky, Ron Washington. Thank you for tuning in, and go vote.